Our story begins an immense time ago, billions of years in the past. Imagine a vast cloud of dust and swirling gas, spinning in the endless dark of space. This was the very beginning of our solar system, a chaotic and energetic place. Gravity, that invisible cosmic force, started to pull these tiny particles together. Clumps began to form, growing larger and larger. One of these growing clumps was destined to become our home, the planet Earth. It was a process of cosmic construction, taking place over unimaginable eons, building worlds from stardust. As more and more material gathered, our young Earth grew incredibly hot. It became a molten ball of rock, a fiery sphere glowing in the darkness. Volcanoes erupted constantly, spewing out lava and gases, shaping the planet's early surface. There were no blue oceans then, no green lands, only a searing, turbulent landscape. Think of a blacksmith's forge, but on a planetary scale. This intense heat meant that the surface was constantly changing, a roiling ocean of liquid rock. It was a truly inhospitable environment, a world still in the throes of its violent birth. Slowly, over millions of years, the Earth began to lose some of its intense heat. The molten surface started to cool and solidify, forming the very first rocks. This was the planet's crust, a thin, brittle skin over the still hot interior. Asteroids and comets, remnants from the solar system's formation, continued to bombard the young Earth. These collisions were powerful, shaping the surface and delivering new materials. Some of these comets, great balls of ice, brought something truly precious: water, locked away in their frozen hearts. This water, delivered by comets and released as steam from the cooling planet, began to accumulate. As the Earth cooled further, this steam condensed into liquid water. Rain began to fall, not for days but for centuries, perhaps even millennia. This colossal downpour filled the vast basins and craters on the Earth's surface. And so, the first oceans were born. These were not the salty seas we know today, but they were the beginnings of Earth's great water bodies, setting the stage for the next incredible chapter in our planet's story. With the formation of vast oceans, the Earth was a very different place. It was still a harsh world, but the presence of liquid water was a game changer. These early oceans were like a global chemical soup, rich in minerals and compounds dissolved from the young rocks. The atmosphere was also different, lacking the oxygen we breathe today. Yet within these primordial waters, something truly remarkable was about to happen. The conditions were slowly becoming right for life, that most extraordinary of phenomena, to take its very first tentative steps. This aqueous cradle held the secret ingredients. Deep within these ancient seas, perhaps near volcanic vents on the ocean floor, the first signs of life appeared. These were not complex creatures, not animals or plants as we know them. They were incredibly simple, tiny cells, far too small to see with the naked eye. These microscopic organisms were the pioneers of life on Earth. They were the ancestors of every living thing that has ever existed on this planet. How exactly they sparked into existence from non-living matter is still one of science's most profound questions, a puzzle we continue to explore with great curiosity. These first life forms were astonishingly resilient. They found ways to survive and get energy in a world very different from ours. Some might have used chemicals from those volcanic vents for sustenance. Others, over vast stretches of time, evolved the ability to harness the energy from the distant sun, a process we now call photosynthesis. This was a pivotal moment. By capturing sunlight, these tiny organisms began to produce oxygen as a waste product. Slowly, painstakingly, they started to change the Earth's atmosphere, paving the way for more complex life. As eons passed, life in the oceans became more diverse. Those simple cells evolved, becoming more complex. Some grouped together, forming colonies. Eventually, the first multicellular organisms appeared. Imagine the earliest soft-bodied creatures like ancient jellyfish or worms drifting through the waters. Then came creatures with shells and primitive backbones. The oceans, once barren, were now teeming with an increasing variety of life. Early forms of algae, the first plants, also flourished, adding more oxygen to the waters and the air above, transforming the planet. For billions of years, life was confined to the water. The land was a stark and empty place baked by the sun's unfiltered radiation. But life is adventurous, always pushing into new territories. The first pioneers to venture onto land were plants, perhaps descendants of those ocean-dwelling algae. They had to develop new structures to support themselves without water, and ways to find moisture and nutrients from the soil. Mosses and early fern-like plants began to colonize the damp edges of continents, painting the barren rock with a first flush of green. Once plants had established a foothold, creating new habitats and sources of food, animals began to follow. The first land animals were likely small invertebrates, creatures like insects and millipedes, venturing out from the water's edge. Then came the vertebrates. Amphibians, still tied to the water for reproduction, made the leap. They could breathe air, but needed to keep their skin moist. Reptiles evolved from these amphibians, a crucial development being the amniotic egg, which allowed them to lay their eggs on land, freeing them entirely from the water for reproduction. This led to an explosion of reptilian life. The Earth entered a new era, the Mesozoic era, often called the Age of Dinosaurs. For over 150 million years, these magnificent creatures dominated the planet. There were giant, long-necked sauropods, munching on treetops, and fearsome carnivores like Tyrannosaurus rex with its powerful jaws. Dinosaurs came in all shapes and sizes, adapted to diverse environments, from lush forests to arid plains. They flew in the skies, swam in the seas, and walked the land, an incredible testament to evolution's power. But this long reign came to a dramatic end. About 66 million years ago, a catastrophic event occurred. Most scientists believe a massive asteroid, perhaps 6 miles wide, struck the Earth. The impact would have caused unimaginable devastation, giant tsunamis, widespread fires, and a colossal cloud of dust and debris that blotted out the sun for months or even years. This plunged the Earth into a prolonged period of cold and darkness. Plants died, and the food chains collapsed. The dinosaurs, along with many other species, could not survive these drastic changes and became extinct. The extinction of the dinosaurs left a void, an ecological vacuum. This provided an incredible opportunity for another group of animals, the mammals. Mammals had existed alongside the dinosaurs, but they were mostly small, shrew-like creatures living in the shadows. With the giant reptiles gone, mammals began to diversify rapidly. They evolved into a stunning array of forms, from tiny bats to giant whales, adapting to fill the niches left empty. This new era is known as the Cenozoic era, the age of mammals, which continues to this day. Among these evolving mammals was a group called primates. These were creatures adapted to life in the trees, with grasping hands and forward-facing eyes. Over millions of years, some primates began to spend more time on the ground. Their brains grew larger and more complex. They started to walk upright on 2 legs. This was the lineage that eventually led to the evolution of humans. Early humans, or hominins, appeared in Africa, learning to make tools, control fire, and communicate in increasingly sophisticated ways. This was a profound turning point. Humans, with their intelligence and adaptability, began to spread out from Africa, populating almost every corner of the globe. We learned to farm, build cities, and develop complex societies and cultures. Our ability to understand and shape our environment is unparalleled in the history of life on Earth. We have explored the deepest oceans and ventured into space. This journey, from those first simple cells to the complex beings we are today, has been an extraordinary epic spanning billions of years of planetary and biological evolution. And so we arrive at the Earth as we know it today. It is a vibrant planet teeming with an astonishing diversity of life, from the smallest microbe to the largest whale. We have blue oceans, green forests, towering mountains, and sprawling deserts. Our atmosphere, rich in oxygen, protects us and supports life. As far as we know, Earth is unique in our solar system, the only place with the right conditions to harbor such a rich tapestry of life. This makes our planet incredibly precious, a beautiful blue jewel in the vastness of space, a home that we must cherish and protect.